the news and more on 938 Live.
Hello, you're in your style file here in 938 Live with Daphne and Angela. And today we're talking a bit more about some very interesting shoemakers. And in particular, one that's born and bred in Singapore. So MASHIZAN has honed his skills in the craft in Florence, Italy, where he was taking a sabbatical from his video production career. So Mash actually first learned the craft of shoemaking from master cobbler Angelo Imperatrice and also former Ferragamo shoe designer Ilaria Papucci. Now, his experience in the charming town of rustic Italy, which we're going to hear a lot more about in just a bit, has inspired his launching of MASHIZAN for women, which with a philosophy that encompasses luxury, elegance, and glamour. So we chat with the man behind the new local luxury shoe brand, MASHIZAN himself. Mash, thanks for joining us today.
Hey guys, thanks a lot for having me.
Well, we're very excited to learn how you manage to come under the tutelage of these master cobblers and top-of-the-line shoe designers.
Well, it really all started, I've been talking about learning to make and design shoes for a very long time. But the opportunity never came until about 2 years ago when I was scouting around for schools or rather artisanal schools where I could learn how to make and design shoes. And obviously Florence being one of the centers of, fine shoemaking. Mm-hmm. So I decided to sort of just take a break and sign up with an artisanal school in Florence. It's called Accademia Riaci. And it's a very small school that's really targeted at mid-career professionals. And there were only 8 of us in class, and it was very multinational. I had classmates from Saudi Arabia, Nigeria, Italy, Japan. So it was quite a spectacular experience going there.
Well, talk us through a shoemaking class, Mash. For those of us who don't have the privilege of going all the way there and sitting in one of these exclusive classes, what actually happens?
Well, there are 2 components to the course. First, obviously, is the shoemaking part of it. You go through the whole sketching as well as, cutting out the patterns and going through the whole process of lasting, assembling the shoes. So it was really a basic ABCs of shoemaking. And then the second component of it includes shoe designing, and that's where it was a one-on-one session with me and Ilaria, and it was amazing. I mean, just learning from people who've been doing it for decades, and it was just really spectacular.
Do you have to be very familiar with the anatomy of a foot to be a shoe designer?
I think it's important for a shoe designer to know what are the components. As you said earlier, I think before anyone could design a pair of shoes, you need to sort of know comfort and fitting and form. And all these you need to know before you start designing, because otherwise it just become bits of sketches,
So the designing comes first. Let's talk about that first. What was it like learning from someone who has such an established career in shoemaking? Do you feel that, over time you start incorporating a lot of his styles and his designs into your own?
Absolutely. It's one thing to sort of do your own sketches, and then it's another trying to translate it try to turn it into reality. I think the first thing you need to know is will it work and will it, be comfortable? Because sometimes as you do your outlines and do your sketches, flights of fancy can, be unrealistic in some ways. So there's a need to balance between commercial expectations as well as something that's artistic and purely beautiful.
Learning all about what it takes to make shoes, and not just make them but design them well. We're talking to MASHIZAN. He used to be a video producer and also a journalist, but now he's honing his skills in the craft in Florence, Italy, where he got a lot of his inspiration from some of the best shoemakers and designers around the world. Mash is heading the new luxury shoe brand at MASHIZAN. Mash, thanks for joining us and staying on the line. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about how we can assess that a pair of shoes are of very good quality. Is it necessarily true that expensive shoes are better and superior quality?
Price does not necessarily guarantee quality, obviously, but I think what's most important is the materials used, especially if you use certain types of leathers that are cheaper. Obviously, they cost less, but may not necessarily be the most comfortable. I think the first thing is look at the materials, and then also the mold of the shoe through which companies produce their shoes, where good last means good form and good fitting. And so I think it's very important I think shoes is one of those things that you really have to try them on, feel comfortable in them, and just feel confident wearing them.
Mash, we're having a look at some of your designs right now online. They're very pretty, but they're so high.
They are, and just the reason being, it's a red carpet collection, and so I wanted to start because this is my debut collection, so it's a red carpet collection, and we want to start with a bang.
Yeah.
But take note that we are developing our next collection very shortly, and we will have varying heights. I'm doing heels, mid heels, as well as flat. So,
Yeah.
look forward to those.
Well, I have no problems with really high heels. I
No, you
absolutely
don't.
love them. I think they look absolutely gorgeous. And it's important then to get it comfortable, right? Especially if you're going for an event. The last thing you want is to trip up when you dress or feel very uncomfortable the whole night. So what kind of material do you use, Smash? What's the best leather that gives you comfort and versatility?
I love suede. I think for me, calf or kid suede, they are soft, they are pliable, they just make you, feel luxe, and I think in our particular style, we use a lot of suede leathers that's very finely treated, and we work with the best tanneries in Florence. So I would totally recommend suede.
Well, a lot of the shoes in your collection are very vibrant in color, and I love that. But how do you actually get the color to sit well on the shoes when you're making them? Is there a procedure that you go through?
We actually get all our leathers from a couple of great tanneries. So these are very reputable, and so they work with lots of the big luxury brands. So the leathers come already, colored in whatever color styles that we pick. Although having said that, one of our styles is called the Simona. There's a story behind that actually. It's iridescent patent leather, which basically means that I had patent leather spray colored 3 different colors. So under the sun, it changes color from blue to green to purple, and it's partly because of the story of each shoe. And with that particular style, it was inspired from 2 beautiful Italian judges I met when I was in Rome, and they both were about to get married, and they both were from Simona. Wanted a similar pair of shoes, but wanted different colors. So I thought, okay, what's the best way? So I worked with a tannery in Italy to come up with that particular style. So it changes color under the sun.
Wow,
Nice.
That's like a mood ring on your feet. That's sort of temperature changing colors. How is that achieved? Can you share a little bit about the secret behind that technology?
It's something that we work with the tannery in Florence. I mean, a lot of the tanneries in Florence, they're pretty old school. They don't really want to do things that are, different or that are not common. But I really pushed them harder because I wanted us to have something that's different and no one else has. So that particular iridescent patent look, no other designer has that, and I really love the fact that we're the only ones who have that.
Well, you're in Dubai right now, we understand. Can you tell us more about what you're doing there?
So, guys, we're so excited to be in Dubai because we've been selected to take part in this Swarovski Sparkling Couture. We're the only Singapore designer picked by Swarovski to take part in this exhibition, and one of 3 shoe brands actually in Asia, Middle East, and Australia. And what we had to do was to come up with 3 new styles for the bridal collection. So I came up with 3 pairs of designs that are just quite remarkable, I would say, because we use tulle as well and lots of Swarovskis. But it still sticks to our brand DNA, and that's sophisticated and that's elegant and just very stylish and simple.
Well, Mash, what do these showcases or shows like that? What do they actually do in terms of getting your brand out there? Does it hit your target customer?
I think as a new emerging brand, it always helps to have our products and our shoes in front of more eyeballs, newer markets. It always helps to create brand awareness. I think because we're still very new, and people are still slowly starting to get to know us. And it always is great to get feedback and to hear people say that they like our styles and they want to see more of them.
Mash, I think you might be trained in Italy, you might be based in Italy, but we still claim you, yeah? You go around telling people that you're from Singapore, please.
Absolutely. I'm very much deep down a very much Singaporean at heart, and I love the fact that Singapore is my home because I go home very regularly, and it's where home is.
Yeah, we're very proud of you as well. And tell us a bit more about where you're hoping to target your shoes at. Are you trying to sell them here in Singapore or mostly across the globe?
Well, we are present in Singapore. We are available at Takashimaya. So do check us out at level 2 of the shoe salon in Takashimaya. We'd love to have more Singaporean, brand adopters, and and we also are present in New York. And we are right now in the planning stages of having a presence in Dubai, and hopefully in the near future we'll have our flagship store in Milan at some point.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to that. Now, thanks so much, Mash, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, born and bred in Singapore, it's MASHIZAN Mastrom, honing his skills in the craft in Florence, Italy, of shoemaking, shoe design from the best in the world. He's also been telling us a little bit more about what it's like to launch his new luxury shoe brand.